therapist and owner of Evolve Physical Therapy, came to me expressing an interest in providing rock steady boxing and programs for people with Parkinson's. And we started to see much more need for these programs. So we jumped at that opportunity. Later on, you'll hear a little bit more from him, and we'll also have a demonstration of rock steady boxing. And we used to offer it in person. It was twice a week at his physical therapy studio and twice a week at the center. Now we're at least fortunate to have this technology to offer it virtually. And we've been still offering it twice a week through the computer with the certified trainer and other programs. We're very thankful to the Parkinson's Foundation for enabling us this year to be able to offer it this twice a week with the music program, as well as this conference that we're holding virtually today. And we look forward to one day being able to gather in person again. So thank you to, again, the Parkinson's Foundation. Today, for about an hour and 15 minutes, we're going to hear from experts in the field and professionals and medical doctor to describe a variety of ways to stay active, stay vigorous, and move forward, even while staying at home. So our first presenter today is Dr. Daryl Victor. He's a movement disorder specialist and currently the co-director of the New York Presbyterian Brooklyn Methodist Hospital Movement Disorder Center. For nearly 20 years, he has been a member of the International Movement Disorder Society. Although he also practices general neurology, he maintains a very large following of patients with Parkinson's disease and other movement disorders. So take it away, Dr. Victor. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for everybody to spending the time with us. Hopefully this will be enlightening. We were talking with Erica, our social worker, whether or not we should do PowerPoints, and we said, you know what, let's just make it a little bit more informal. And I also want to make it practical. So I'm not going to show any slides or talk about tons and tons of research, because I think we don't have enough time for it. And two, I want to get to the heart of the matter. The fact is that even during pandemics, it's important to have both a mental and a physical activity level that's high, especially for people with Parkinson's disease. So the first thing is exercise. Exercise is one of the few things that everyone can do, and it can be very inexpensive. You can do anything from lifting weights at your home, in your chair or in your bed, to walking or jogging or doing weights or doing the rock steady boxing. We know from studies that daily exercise helps people with Parkinson's disease to improve their quality of life and also help their disease. The fact is that any exercise really works. And so I always tell my patients, take an exercise that you enjoy. Because I tell you, and I pick one for you, you may not like it and you're never going to do it. But if you find one that you enjoy very much, then that's the one for you. So it doesn't necessarily have to be one specific exercise. You can do a multiple variety of exercises and mix it up. And you can do ones different days so you don't get bored with the exercises. So that's extremely important. And again, it's much easier than taking a pill for people who are in the early onset and don't want to take medications. And even those who are on medications, the exercise definitely helps them. And again, any exercise helps. So whatever one you enjoy, that's the right one. Secondly, we know that exercise helps people with depression, and it helps the heart, and it brings more blood to the brain. So the exercise is very important, not just for people with Parkinson's, but for everybody. So even the caregivers really should be doing exercises as well for their own health. And we want them to be healthy so they can help their loved ones with their diseases. So it's important that everybody gets involved. And usually when you have a whole team involved, it's much easier to do what some people may feel as an onerous task of exercise. What else can we do? Definitely social interactions are very important. People can feel very isolated, not just in the pandemic, but also when they have a medical condition. They can feel ostracized, whether from the community or from their families, or they don't want to tell people that they have the disease. But it's really important to get a social interaction with your family and with your friends, because that actually helps your mood and it helps your being. And usually patients of mine who don't want other people to know that they have a disease, it's usually their own perception rather than other people's perception. I mean by that is most people, if they see you, they probably know, and they're just not telling you, and they don't care. Second of all, even when you do tell them, they forget the next day, so they don't care. So you should not feel embarrassed about your condition. You didn't do anything to cause it. And it doesn't make you less of a person. So you should own up to the disease saying, I have a problem, but I'm going to improve on my life. And that actually helps mentally. And so when you're in your home during an epidemic, don't give up the phone. Don't give up your Zoom classes. You should really be very much involved. We do know that social actions do help people with their mental abilities, and definitely regarding depression. So those are two main areas that people really need to focus on, I think, when they're in a pandemic situation and they can't really leave their house, because those things you can do no matter where you are. Obviously, we want you to keep in touch with your physicians and nurses and therapists. So if you do have a Zoom, terrific. That works really well. We don't usually need to see you. If we do a Zoom in person, we can do it online. And we've been doing that for many months here with really good quality. And I think people really do enjoy it, and it feels that they don't have to worry about the weather. They don't have to worry about the transportation. At the same time, I get to see an actual window into your houses. So for me, it actually makes me see, oh, how you're actually living. What can I do as a physician to say, oh, I see that they have stairs in the way, or there's a rug in the way. We can make changes by actually seeing your living environment. So it's actually in some ways very helpful to have this window into your own lives that I don't get to see when you're in my office, because you act differently when you're in my office. People have it up for me. Sometimes they try to be at their best, whereas home, you're really who you are. So this Zooming has actually been very helpful for us. So I don't think that people should negate, listen, if you can come to the office, great. But if you can't, definitely have a telehealth. And if you can't do a telehealth, then do a telephone visit. We do that as well for people who do not have the ability to do Zoom or Doximity or FaceTime. We definitely do telephone visits, but definitely keep in contact with your caregivers, your providers. They actually will help you get through this crazy time that we have. I think those are the 3 points that I really wanted to focus about. I think also I'm really concerned that people might get very depressed, and I want people to be aware of that they, depression doesn't always have to be in a form of sadness. It can be irritability. It can be apathy, which is very common in Parkinson's disease. And that can be really highlighted when you're all by yourself in your home or stuck in a house. So we do want to be aware of it. I want you to be cognizant of it, both if you are the caregiver or you are the patient. And, be honest with yourself. Hi, do I feel more depressed than I had before? Is this a new feeling for me? Because if you are depressed, it's very hard to treat any medical condition. Depression makes everything feel worse. And it's very treatable. If you can treat the depression, whether it's exercise or whether it's medication, whether it's talking to a psychologist, that actually will help all your other medical conditions. So it's important to be aware of that and cognizant and not throw it under the rug. So I think I'm going to end over here. I think I said the things that I really wanted to say, and I'll give it to the next person. Thank you so much for allowing me to spend time with you. And I hope you get much more out of this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Victor. Much appreciated. Do you have time for one question? If
sure, yes, I have time for a question, yes.
Okay, is there somebody who has a question? You can unmute if there's a person with a question, or you can click where you raise a hand or type it in the chat. And if there's no questions, then we are going to move on to Stacy Emmer.
Linda, if they have a question, they can always, send it to you, and you can always forward it to me. I'll be glad to answer it at some later time as well. It's not a problem. I'm glad to talk to anyone.
Very good. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Victor. I'm sure you're very busy. I see you're there at the hospital. Yeah. And we appreciate your taking out some time for the day.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye.
All right. Our next speaker is Stacy Emmer. She's a speech-language pathologist in practice for 25 years. She specializes in adult neurogenic disorders, including Parkinson's. She's certified in the Speak Out program for Parkinson's, currently offers the Parkinson's Voice Project Clinic with Evolve PT, and is the Director of Speech for Testing and Training International. Thank you for being with us today, Stacy.
Hi, Linda, Ashley, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here and share my knowledge with you and anybody else who can benefit from it. So as you said, I've been working with patients with acquired neurological disorders for about 25 years. And last year I was looking for something new and innovative for my patients. And I heard about Speak Out. It's a program that was developed by Samantha Williams. She's out in Texas. And she developed a program in order to help patients with Parkinson's communicate better and more effectively. And she found so much success with the program that she offered a grant to a number of different people, and we were lucky to get one. And we were able to train 4 different speech language pathologists. And then we were going to launch the program, and along came Corona. So we made a decision that it would be best to try to launch it on Zoom. And we did so. And we started that back in June, and we've been met with so much success. We had about 15, 20 people go through the program. And they found that their speech, their communication, their swallowing is much improved. I'm going to show a video of a testimonial of a patient. It wasn't our patient, but it's somebody from the Parkinson Voice Project who went through the program and met with and also had so much success. And there are many more patients like this. So I'm going to show this, and then I'm going to model some of the exercises for you to see. So I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to introduce you to Rick. Here he is. Oh, sorry.
My name is Ricky Ray Eldridge. My voice, when I speak, especially towards the end of the day, there's a real tightness in here. It feels like my tongue is filling up my mouth. I noticed today when I was at my ARB meeting that more than one person said, I could tell your voice is much stronger. Karen, sitting next to her, she didn't say what as much. I just like the fact people are hearing what I'm saying, and it's improved my cognitive abilities. Just going through these exercises, I don't have to think as much about a word because it just seems to pop in my head there. But at the same time, while I'm doing that, I don't drop my voice when I come up with the word I'm thinking of. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Tell me about your experience going to Loud Crowd over the last 5 years.
I think I need that for support. You need to be around people, like people, so you can share your experiences, share your good times, your bad times. It's like a family here.
When you want people to hear and understand you, what do you need to do?
Speak on the 10.
So that was an example of Rick. He's a patient who had a lot of success with the program. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit how it works. The way it works is that there are 12 sessions over a month's period of time. So you do intensive therapy 3 times a week over the month. You're given a workbook that comes to you free from the Parkinson's Voice Project. And then after a month, you then transition into a Loud Crowd. The Loud Crowd is a way for you to meet other people who also have Parkinson's, to feel a sense of community and support, and then to practice your exercises in a safe environment. And that's ongoing. So right now we have the Loud Crowd group We have it for men, and we just have a few women that are finishing the 12 sessions, so we hope to start it. So I'm just going to model for you a few exercises that every day you practice. In order to be effective, you have to practice not just in the speech therapy, but every day. So the three main exercises is first the sustained ah to improve your loudness and your breath support. So it's ah. So there are 10 of those. And then there are 10 pitch glides. So it's ah, ah. So you're practicing your pitch, your loudness. And then there's forward focus of your speech. So we do a warm up, may, me, my, mo, moo. And then we do our counting. So it's similar. 1, 2, 3. So we do that for 3 sets with the whole idea of speaking out, using your cognitive skills to know that you need to speak with intent. Then we do a reading task. And then we do, if you need to, we can repeat it. So there's reading. And then there's a cognitive task that helps you carry over your exercises that you've been practicing. So it might be something like name 5 vegetables or name 5 fruits or tell me about your favorite childhood memory, but you're saying it with intent. So you're actually taking something, like speech that's more automatic, and you're moving it to more of a cognitive task with intent. So that's the program. It's ongoing. The enrollment is ongoing. We're happy to have anybody try it if they would like. And we really want everyone to have the ability to improve their communication, their quality of life, and connect with others who are in a similar situation. So we look forward to meeting with you, and be well. Thanks for having me. I can't hear you. I'm muted.
Thanks so much. I was muted for a moment. Yeah, that was real. It's very interesting to hear the work that you do. And we want to let people know, if anybody's interested in following up, they can be in touch with us. At the end of the program, we're going to put everybody's contact information up.
Great.
And
Okay.
so people can get in touch. Okay. So thank
Great.
you
Thanks for
so
doing this.
much.
It's been wonderful. Good to work with you. Okay. All the
Yeah.
best.
Thank
Shabbat
you.
Shalom.
Bye. Thank you. Our next speakers are going to be music therapists. We have a fabulous team of 3 board-certified music therapists who provide sessions following the Sephardic Community Center's virtual Rocksteady boxing. Unfortunately, Ariel Weitzman, one of our music therapists, couldn't be with us today, but we have 2 of our team, Joelle Cohen and Nikki Schoen. They're going to each share their unique and special techniques and their beautiful voices. Joelle, take it away.
Hi, I'm Joelle. I am a music therapist. And when we're talking about things that we can do at home that could help, with people with Parkinson's, is even just listening to music. So music listening is very beneficial because it releases dopamine. And dopamine is a chemical in the brain. Sometimes it's very beneficial, and it lowers pain perception, decreases anxiety, helps with emotional memory. And it's just by listening to music. So if you're home and you're either cleaning or cooking, sitting around, you're tired of watching the news, taking a break and listening to music for about an hour could really benefit you in many ways. So that's something very simple that you could do at home. Listening to your favorite record, finding a playlist, anything like that. Also, what music therapy can do, it helps with communication, of your vocalizing. And the speech therapist talked about different vocalizations earlier. And so to go on with that is a really beneficial exercise that I wanted to show you. So your voice is very powerful. You have this great mechanism in your throat that it's a massage. It gives us power. It gives us healing. And I just wanted to demonstrate a way that we could use our voices to help with healing. So what I invite everybody to do, put one hand on your chest and one hand on your jaw. Great. And what I want you to do, without judgment, because music therapy is a place without judgment, free self-expression, where it doesn't matter what you sound like here, you know, we want to focus on how we feel in music. So I want everyone to take a big inhale and just exhale. Again, just a big inhale and exhale. Nice. So we get nice and relaxed, nice and comfortable. And now what I invite everybody to do, we're going to take an inhale and we're going to exhale the vowel ah. And it's okay, it doesn't matter what you sound like. So inhale, exhale, ah. Excellent. And what you might have felt is a vibration in your chest during that. So now you could repeat that a couple times. And now, but what I want to try now in this short little clip is I want to do the same inhalation, except when we exhale, exhale the vowel E. So we're going to inhale. E. Great. And you might have felt a different vibration. You might have felt it in your jaw. Yeah, excellent. So that's really cool. See, we're using our voices to kind of move around what's going on inside for us. So now what we're going to do, we're going to inhale and we're going to switch between ah and E. And I want you to try to see if you could feel the different vibrations. And if you don't feel it, it's okay. No, everything's all good here. So we're going to inhale. Excellent. And what you might have felt is the changing of the vibrations. And that's just an example of how healing our voices. You have like your own little massage chair in your throat. And what that's really great for, it helps with volume. It helps with pronunciation. Just a simple warm up like that could really get your voice moving, activate different things. And even what it's nice to use it for is sometimes when we feel clogged up, even in our ears and in our heads, doing that exercise kind of breaks up all that stuff. So you could use that for that too. So another thing that we like to do in music is so music is really great for cognition too. So recalling memories, you know, when you hear a song, sometimes you think about that last time you heard it or what that song reminds you of. And it also brings up different expressions, different self-expressions, you know, vocalizing, thinking of words to say, lyric recall, all those types of things. So a song that I like to use is a grateful exercise. It's about which we could all use, you know, always beneficial. And so it goes like this. I'm just going to move this down a little bit so you can see my hands. So the rhythm goes like this. It's a simple song. I'm grateful for all these things and so much more. I'm grateful for the life that I lead. Excellent. So when we do this exercise, we think about things we're grateful for. So I invite you right now to think of something that you're grateful for. First, we start with a person, someone in your life that you're grateful for. My family. And then we could think of something physical, a possession that we're grateful for. My stove, you know, I'm very grateful for that. And then something about yourself that you're grateful for. My positivity. And thinking about all these different things is really great for your emotional connection. And that's just one example, we could end there, of how we can use music and be able to connect not only with ourselves, with what we want, with what we're grateful for, finding appreciation, but with everybody else, that social connection. You know, someone could bring up a family member, oh, I'm grateful for that person too, and ignite conversation and ignite interest and ignite that connection.
So
we've been able to collaborate a bit and work with you know, the wonderful group of adults. And you know, as Joelle was explaining beautifully, music therapy has many benefits, and we're using clinically based interventions to improve quality of life, to work on different individualized goals. So a lot of what we're doing in this group is to work on breath support, breath control. A lot of the demonstrations that she was using have many different goals. But we also use a lot of song singing, and I like to use a lot of song singing in my group because it's a social experience. So there's many benefits from singing, but mostly it's very enjoyable. You know, singing is something we can do together. You can do it on your own. So a lot of what we're doing in our group, you can take into your life and sing in the shower or with friends, with family. So I'm going to show you guys a song that I like to use with the group. You might have heard it. It's Love. And this one I like to use because we can use the use of sign language as well. So you're making the connection between your body and the lyrics that you're singing. So it's a mindful experience. It's one that, you know, we're using our body language, we're expressing ourselves. And so if you can follow along with me, we'll go over the sign language first. So we're using L, O, V, and E. And I'm going to present some lyrics so you can read along. There we go. Can you all see the lyrics? Give me a thumbs up. Amazing, thank you. So we are going to sing along, and as Joelle was saying, music therapy is a safe space, right? So I usually invite people to either keep themselves on mute, or in this group, you can put yourself off mute if you want, and you can sing out loud. Sometimes with Zoom, there might be a bit of a lag, but we just accept any of these challenges. And, you know, we want it to be a group experience, and we want it to be a free space for people to express themselves however they feel comfortable. So we sing out loud. You can just listen if listening is more comfortable for you. As Joelle also explained, just music listening has benefits as well. So it's really a social experience that we can express ourselves in whichever way feels the most comfortable. But singing is a way that we can all socialize and connect with each other. So I like using this song. And as we go through the lyrics, we are going to use our sign language during the chorus. V, E. So please feel free to join me however way you feel comfortable. L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E, thank you, is even more than anyone that you adore. Nice, everyone. Love is all that I can give to you. Sing out loud if you'd like. Love is more than just a game for two. We can move our bodies and sway. Two, and love can make it. Take my heart, but please don't break it. Love was made for me and you. And we're gonna sing again. L is for the way you look at me. O
for the only one I see.
Yeah.
B is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore.
And love is all that I
can give to you.
Thank you.
Love is more than just a game for you.
Two, and love can make it. Take
my heart and please don't break it.
Love was made for me and you. Very nice. We'll repeat the ending. Love was made for me and you. One more time, all together. And love was made for me and you. Beautiful. Everyone, give yourself a round of applause for all of your participation and singing today. And yeah, we try and make every experience one where people feel like they are being heard. I like to take song suggestions every week. So if anybody has favorite songs that they get to share that with the group. It's a beautiful social experience, and it's singing out loud can promote confidence and just improve life in many ways. So thank you all for being a part of this presentation.
Okay,
thank you, Linda. And
thank you,
Joelle.
Nikki and Joelle. So that was a little sampling of what we do. When it was in person at the center, it's very different, but you know, at least this way we get to join together and see each other and still vocalize and sing and do the best we can. So if you're interested in participating, please be in touch with me and I can give you more detailed information about how to do that. So I know Nikki and Joelle, when we have more time, they do breathing exercises sometimes and stretching, and you know, they'll get you to participate. Sometimes there's a group songwriting by prompts and you put in an input. So it's a really fun session, and Joelle and Nikki and Errol, they're all great and they bring special talents to this music program. So again, let us know if you're interested in that. So thanks again, Joelle and Nikki. So now we have Lou Esrick, who's been mentioned several times because he was one of the sparks for bringing Parkinson's programming with Rocksteady Boxing to the Sephardic Community Center. Where is Lou? He is a physical therapist and the owner of Evolve Physical Therapy. And as mentioned before, he did bring that to us. So he's going to introduce Rocksteady Boxing and his certified Rocksteady Boxing trainer, Aldo Orenville, who's going to provide a demonstration. So, you know, you'll have a chance to not only sit and watch, but to move a little bit as well and get a sense of what Rocksteady Boxing is about if you haven't ever done it before. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Lou, who I saw on here before.
Can you see me? I'm here.
There you are.
All righty.
Okay. Hey, Lou.
Hi, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Joelle, Nikki. That was beautiful. Thank you, everybody, for coming. It's really amazing to see everybody on here. Thank you, Linda, for putting this together with the Sephardic Center. We all know how hard you worked to put this all together. It wasn't easy. So thank you so much. And a big hello to Dr. Victor, Stacy, Eric Edelman, and to really all of you guys for joining us. For those who don't know me, my name is Lou Esrick. I'm a physical therapist for 18 years. I specialize in Parkinson's disease. I'm the founder of Evolve Physical Therapy. We have 3 locations in Brooklyn. A little bit about the history. We opened up Rocksteady Boxing a little less than 3 years ago. We're the first one to open in Brooklyn because we found that there was a real need to help the people of Brooklyn, which is where I'm from, and the people that I love. Prior to the pandemic, we offered 12 Rocksteady Boxing classes in Brooklyn. We had in our Marine Park office. We also had at the Sephardic Center, and we had 2 classes in Williamsburg as well. We had lots of participants. It was growing really well. Then in March, we had to shut down and go virtually. And since then, we've had our classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 o'clock. The beauty is now that it's open to absolutely everybody, it's free, and you can join from all over the world. I'm actually speaking to you guys from Florida today. I'm wearing shorts, you can't tell. So there is an advantage to this whole thing, at least. And it's great to see so many people. We were never able to fit, I don't know, 70, 80 people ever into a class. We were limited at like 15. So there is something beautiful about that. I'd also like to introduce you guys to Aldo. Aldo, I really owe him just a tremendous debt of gratitude. He's been our coach since the beginning in person. He's so dedicated. He loves everybody. He's been there now since we've gone virtual every single week, twice a week, leading the classes. And without him, honestly, none of this would be possible. So a big thank you to Aldo. And in addition to everybody who's come every single week, one of the most beautiful things is that unless we have participation, we really don't have anything. So everybody's been coming and being supportive for each other, and we can't wait to see you all in person. And Aldo's going to give a little bit of a demonstration of what Rocksteady Boxing is. So I'm going to pass it over to Aldo. Aldo, take it away.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Really quick, I'd just like to thank Linda, Ashley, Nikki, Joelle. They've been great. They've been awesome. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have our Rocksteady boxing class. On Thursdays, we are followed by the music therapy program. It's a great program. It's something I suggest everyone should try, especially after doing the Rocksteady program. I'm here. I get you guys moving. I get you guys going, get the body moving from all the sitting that you do, especially during COVID. We've all been sitting at home for a while. Rocksteady is a great thing to do. So right now, if you can, stand up, follow along with me. We're going to start off with some warm-ups. So with the warm-ups, all the warm-ups is meant to do is to get the body going, get everything nice, loose, stretched out. So let's first start off with some arm circles. We're going to go arms straight out. We're doing 10 big circles going forward, then 10 big circles going back. And as we do it, just like in the voice therapy program, we have to speak with intent. So I want you to count it out and yell. So let's go. Count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Now 10 going backwards. Go. 1, 2. Count out loud. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Now shake those shoulders out. Relax. Now we're going to get into our elbow tuck. So we're going arms straight out. We're pulling those elbows in and then back out. All right. Let's count out to 10 on this. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Now, one real quick warm-up exercise before we get into the boxing, trunk rotations. We're going to twist. We need our core nice and loose. That way we can move, promote good mobility. So we're here. We're staying feet apart. We're just going to twist. Twist to the right, twist to the left. We're going to count this out for 20. Loud voices. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 more. Count it out. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Good job, everybody. So, a big thing about boxing, a part of boxing is being able to move, footwork. So, with Parkinson's, a lot of times some of our boxers have a little bit of stuttering gait. You'll find yourself tripping over things. So with our footwork here, I try to help everyone properly move in certain directions. So we're gonna stand in our boxing stance. So let me move this out the way. My boxing stance is left leg forward, right leg back. So stand up with me, left leg forward, right leg back. Now, whichever direction I go to, that's the leg that's gonna lead me. So if I decide I wanna move to my left, I step with my left foot, my right foot follows. If I wanna go to my right, I step with my right foot, my left foot follows. If I wanna go forward, my front foot steps, my back leg follows. If I wanna go back, my back foot steps, my front foot follows. We never want our feet crossing, and we always wanna keep a wide stance to promote good balance and a good base. So let's try that out real quick. As you go, call out the direction you're going to. So follow along with me. Hands up by your face, elbows in, boxing stance. Good, nice bent knees. All right, let's call it out. Forward, so good, back, forward, good, call it out, back, forward, back, good. Now, let's go left and right. Left, good. One foot goes, then the other one follows. Right, left, right, left, right. There you go. Forward, back, left, right. Good job, everybody. Good job. Looking really good. So just little basics of things we go over in the boxing class. Now, the fun part, punching. Please do not punch your spouses. Make sure the room is clear. Let those arms go. So now, when we're throwing our punches, everything comes from your face. So we want our hands up, elbows in tight. Our first two punches are our 1 and our 2. My 1 is my straight left. As I throw that out, I always want to keep one hand by my face. My 1, straight left. My 2, straight right. Full extension. That arm goes straight out and I pull it right back to my cheeks. We always want to protect the face. So let's try this out. Call it as you do it. Let's go. Ready. 1. Good. 1. Full extension. 1. Good. 1. 2. Straight right. Pull it back. 2. Extend. 2. 2. Good. Yes. If you have your spouse is there, those are your cornermen. They're there to help you. It's good to have someone there with you that way they can work with you. Also, do it together. Now let's put those punches together. 1, 2. Good. Right back to your face. 1, 2. 1, 2. Keep those hands up. 1, 2. Good. Let's put some speed to that. 1, 2, 1, 2. Good. 1, 2, 1, 2. Nice. Give me one more. 1, 2, 1, 2. Good. Let's add a little movement. Back. Forward. 1, 2. Back. Forward. 1, 2, 1, 2. Good. 1, 2, 1, 2. Nice. Good job, everybody. So that was just a little bit of the basics. We also have a couple other punches. We have our 3, we have our 4. These are our hooks. These are those punches that come around. We have our 5 and our 6. Those are our uppercuts. So this was just a quick little demo for everyone. Again, I'd like to thank Linda, Ashley. I'd like to thank Lou for bringing me on board. I hope you enjoyed that. All right.
All right. Thank you, Aldo. That was a really great introduction and demonstration for people who have never done it before, and a review for those who have. And again, if you're interested in joining in with this, at the end, I'll have my contact information and you can get in touch with me and we can be in touch to let you know how to participate in it. It's a wonderful thing for keeping physically moving. It keeps your brain moving too, because you have to know which is the number 1 and number 2, and you have to follow along. And then it keeps your vocal cords going too in all these different ways that we've been talking about, from speech therapy and music, and even in the rock steady boxing. So anyway, thank you, Aldo, for being a wonderful trainer and a coach. And we'll see you in the next session too. So thank you. So next up we have Kathy Livingston. Thank you, Kathy. She is the president and owner of Senior Helpers New York City. And this is a home care agency that has a unique and wonderful way of partnering clients with home health aides. And she specializes also in working with people with Parkinson's, as well as, I know also from previous work, people with dementia, and whatever needs people have for being at home and needing extra care. I've known Kathy for many, many years. She's done many wonderful presentations for us at the Sephardic Community Center. And she provides just critical information and helpful advice. So take it away, Kathy.
Well, thank you, Linda. As Linda said, we've known each other for many years. And I think one of the things I get the most passionate about is making sure we all get information to make great choices. So fortunately for everybody on today, I will not sing for you because it would not sound quite as pleasing as Nikki and Joelle. And my spouse will appreciate that I will not start boxing, because although I can't make any promises that he would be safe if I did so. So I will stick to what I'm good at, which is really sharing information. One of the things, as the owner of a home care agency, I'm sure there's so many exciting things you can think of, and home care probably is not the first one that comes to mind. But it is one that can be so critical for many older adults, especially those facing Parkinson's. And it can go really well, and it can go really not well. And we want to make sure that we're taking all the steps for it to be the absolute best it can be for us all to be at home. And that is what I get excited about and what I get very passionate about. So Linda and I talked, and she'd like me to, talk about a few just very brief items, and some that I think are really important from what I've seen when it comes to getting help at home. If you or your loved one or whomever, a friend, has Parkinson's and is kind of starting to reach a time where some help would be useful. So the first is caregiving without assumption. And I realized very early, many, many years ago, that everybody thinks one thing about Parkinson's. If they haven't known Parkinson's and they don't know somebody with Parkinson's, they often think Parkinson's, oh yeah, that means they have tremors, right? They just have tremors. But that's just one small snippet of a maybe for everybody. So I think when you start looking at care in the home, it's really important to say, how am I experiencing Parkinson's, or how is Parkinson's entering my home? Because it's different in every single home. And I think understanding that for yourself and realizing you're still you, no one else is you. And so what you have going on is what you have going on, and making sure that when you start looking for a caregiver to help you at home, that that's addressed. And then we want to look at training. So what a big thing. So we assume sometimes, oh, well, somebody's worked with a person with Parkinson's, or they have this, therefore they know all about it. And, there's so much to know, and there's always changes in what we can know, that I think you can't just have a caregiver at home with a plan for what needs done, but there needs to be a training plan. So at Senior Helpers, what we kind of say is, what's a base level that somebody needs to know? Kind of a 101 level of just care, of Parkinson's, and then what do they need to know for each person they're helping, because it does change. So you want to have a training plan. So kind of going over the basics, and then from there saying specifics per person. So for example, someone might have more difficulty at mealtime, and it could range from anything from positioning, swallowing. It could be overstimulation of a TV and lights. It could be 9,000 different things. So making sure that we're training for each person to say, these are the symptoms, these are the challenges, these are the strengths of this person. And we want you to know them really well, because you as a caregiver are in the home providing hands-on care. That helps the caregiver be more successful. and ultimately, allows for better help. I fully believe that since, in all situations, you need to have initial training discussions with your home care team. And then you also need to do it ongoing, because we all change. Every single one of us change. I can promise every single person on this Zoom that I am not who I was 10 years ago, physically, mentally. I've changed. In some ways I've gotten better, and in some ways, maybe not so much. So, right. So we change over time. So as we have somebody with Parkinson's and we have a care team, I think we often make assumptions that, oh, this is a home health aide. They know what they're doing. And maybe they do today, but situations and things change. So making sure that there's ongoing communication and training there. And something that's really relevant here, and what's beautiful about different people coming together, is there's so many resources that create a great at-home plan. So music therapy, speech therapies, physical therapies, occupational therapies, art therapies, having the right medical equipment at home, social engagement, medication. There's so many, parts to what makes living at home with Parkinson's safe and enjoyable and allowing for quality, that I think whoever your home care team is really needs to support that. Because your home care team really should be there to help with the music therapy. Let's say you have a great session with Nikki or Joelle one day, really being able to take some of that and do it when you're not on a Zoom class would bring so much value, and having the right home caregiver to understand that as well and embrace it as well. As well as with Rocksteady Boxing, I'm sure that they have exercises that you could safely do while you're not in the classes. As the doctor shared with us, we're social beings and we're in COVID. So if you do have a home caregiver, understanding the social aspect of that to help combat any depression or anxiety or irritation, however it is for you. So super important to make sure that your home care team is also trained and understands all of the other components that help you be your best. So those are some of the training things that I would think about as you put your home care team together. So when is it time to get help? Aha. No one wakes up and says, you know what I want to get myself today? I want to get myself a really pretty pair of shoes and a home health aide. No one does that, right? We do it after we need it. We know we need it, which often means something has happened, like a fall, like we've mismanaged our medications, like I've started losing weight because either I couldn't swallow or, my pots and pans are in a really difficult spot and it's just too much trouble to try to do it anymore. So here's the biggest challenge that I give to everybody here on this call today. Try to embrace the home care before you know that you need it. Because if you know that you need it, something's probably happened. And maybe that something could have been a little bit different. So the other thing, and the good part, is if you do it earlier than later, you have a lot more control. We see many people that wait till they might have a big fall, and then it's a rush. It's like, oh my gosh, we have to get this person in. We have to have care. We have to have this. We have to have that, because now this thing has happened. So if we do it a little bit on the front end with just a little bit of help here and there, we allow ourselves to get used to it and get comfortable with somebody and maybe prevent something from happening. So I'm going to give you a list of things that kind of say to me, yeah, it's time to start looking at it. One is dependent upon your medication complexity, because we know with Parkinson's, you can have a pretty strict medication schedule that we really want to stick to. So if that becomes difficult to manage, it's a really great time to start maybe having somebody to have some friendly reminders. If there's any confusion or depression starting to come about, which is sometimes hard to notice in COVID, especially if it's for a loved one, because we're not seeing each other as much, it's important to try to get in front of that, because I think some of the ramifications we see of isolation and confusion and depression really lead to physical problems like having difficulty with medications, having difficulty eating or not eating, bathing, those sorts of things. And it tends to be this viral effect. Difficulty with everyday tasks. And by the way, there's some stuff with everyday tasks that you could do that are super easy that getting somebody in just to show you would maybe help with how much you need somebody around. So for example is, if you have things in your kitchen that are really hard to get to, have somebody come and help you take the most important items and put them in a more accessible place. Then at least you're getting somebody in there, they're helping you and they're helping you be more independent. Weight loss, I think, is a big cue that you should start looking at having somebody in. And the very, 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 very largest with Parkinson's are falls. I think if you're starting to have falls, you know, hopefully if the first one is not super serious, it's a great time to start saying, you know, I got to start getting comfortable with this idea. Let me start looking into it so I can feel like I have time and I'm in control. So those are some of the things that I would say you really want to make sure that you kind of keep in the back of your head. And when you're looking for care, having done it for many years, I always hear people are like, but Kathy, I heard about this and I heard about this, and this is scary. And it could be super scary. So here's my recommendations to you. One is, I would ask whomever you're talking to the process. You want to make sure that a home care agency or somebody is really doing personality matching and learning about you and your home and your life, because that's what home care is all about, you in your place, in your intimate zone. So making sure somebody's really taking that time to learn about you on the front end, because if they're not asking you those questions, how could they possibly get somebody that's, you know, there to know you and help you? Please make sure they're insured and bonded and licensed, and they've dotted all their I's and crossed all their T's to make sure you and your home are safe. I find that if people are willing to cut those corners, we can only guess the other corners they're willing to cut. So you want to be safe. We say there's 4 needs that you should know about yourself and that senior helpers should know about you. One is your health, and that's often the reason that people call and get home care. So your health is often your Parkinson's and things you might be experiencing. Another would be your social, which is how are you feeling? How are your spirits? Who do you like? Who do you not? What are your hobbies? Are you doing them anymore? Family, who's involved, and financial, got to be able to afford it, got to be able to access good care. So I would actually encourage all of you on this call today to write down kind of what you feel your health, your social, your family, and your financial needs are. And financially, I get tons of questions about that. You can privately access care. Some people have long-term care insurance. There's VA benefits. There are Medicaid, Medicare, and there's even some not-for-profits around the city that we work with that will provide short-term care to people that they will cover the costs of it. And I would look for a team. You don't want to be doing this on your own. I've owned a home care agency for 12 years, and I can promise you that if you just count on one person, they get sick. They might not be able to show up. So you really want to make sure that you're not counting on one person to be your everything, but make sure that you have a team behind you supporting you. So home care, I didn't get to sing to you. I didn't get you to get up and do physical activity. I'm sorry it's not the funniest, most pleasant ever, but it's what I do and it's what I love, and I love helping people. So if you all do have questions, I'm more than available to them for them. And I really appreciate you listening and Linda having me on. And I saw Erica, who I haven't gotten to see in person in quite some time. So it was good to see her face. So thank you so much. And I am staying on in here if you all have any questions.
Okay, actually, we're gonna right now. Thank you so much, Kathy.
Sure.
Kathy has a ton of information, as everybody who's presenting does. So we thank you so much, because each segment of the program today really could be a whole hour in and of itself or more. So again, be in touch with us if you want to have more information or have more questions. And I'll be, again, putting up contact information after our final presenter is Erica Edelman. Are you here, Erica, somewhere?
Yes, I am.
There you are. So Erica Edelman is a licensed social worker at New York Presbyterian Brooklyn Methodist Hospital. She is the social work resource liaison for the Parkinson's and Movement Disorders Program and the program coordinator for the American Parkinson's Disease Association Information and Referral Center. Besides for having the longest title, I think Erica has the most wealth of information about resources. She's like a big Rolodex. So, and I'm sure she has much more information and many more resources than she'll be able to fit in the program today. But I know if you need information or resources, I'm confident that Erica is the one to go to. So again, at the very end, after Erica's presentation, we'll put up the contact information for various presenters. So thank you, Erica, for joining us, and over to you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank Linda for inviting Dr. Victor and I to be here with all of you today. I'd also like to thank all of my colleagues in the field for all the valuable information that you've provided us with. Lastly, I'd like to thank all of you for sticking around for this final presentation. As you have heard from all of our speakers today, it's really important that you exercise your mind, your body, and voice. So today I'm here to talk about the various programs, activities, and resources that are available to you and your loved ones, so you can do what you actually like, which Dr. Victor spoke about, and make it all work for you, and so that you don't become socially isolated or lonely. But before I begin, I want to help define what social isolation is versus loneliness, because a lot of people get the two confused. Social isolation is the lack of integration of individuals in their social environment. Living alone, possessing a few social network ties, and minimal social contact are all markers of social isolation. Loneliness is an undesirable subjective emotional state in which there is a perception of social isolation or the felt experience of being lonely. And there's three spheres of loneliness. There's intimate or emotional loneliness, which is the yearning for a close confidant or emotional partner. There's relational or social loneliness, that's longing for close friendships and social companionship. And there's collective loneliness, the need for a network of a community of people who share one sense of purpose and interest. Loneliness can be felt if any one of these dimensions are not satisfied. And yes, it is possible to be happily married and still feel lonely, or have a whole bunch of people around you and still feel lonely. And it's really bad for the body. So it can cause more stress, poor immune response, which we definitely need to boost, especially during this pandemic. It could affect cognition, cause anxiety, depression, and disrupt sleep, which is also why it's important that we're addressing these things today. Before we talk about what you can do, I think it's important to also figure out ways to recognize social isolation in yourself and in others, because some people may be like, hey, I feel comfortable just being alone, but people don't realize when they're actually socially isolated. So to help you determine whether you or your loved one is experiencing social isolation and feelings of loneliness, experts recommend using an instrument such as the UCLA 3-item loneliness. By answering hardly ever, some of the time or often to these 3 questions, we can determine the extent to which family members, friends, loved ones, and ourselves are experiencing social isolation and loneliness. So as I go through this presentation, I want you to think about these questions. The first one is, how often do you feel that you lack companionship? How often do you feel left out? And how often do you feel isolated from others? If you, a family member or a friend, answered some of the time or often to any of these questions, it's time to get more socially connected. And already Parkinson's can be very isolating itself from different stigmas and symptoms that you might have. So this is another way to recognize that social isolation, but also bring you more mindfulness in where your current state is. So what are some ways to stay socially connected during COVID? There's the classic ways of giving someone a phone call or mailing a letter. It's not very often people have pen pals these days. Now that we have this era of technology, you can send an email, or hopefully by now, over the past 9 months, you might have learned how to use Zoom, which we're all on today, or you can have a FaceTime session with family and friends. I mean, it's really amazing because it's giving us a way to interact with individuals all over the world. In one of our groups, we actually have a caregiver that comes in from Rome, Italy. So we're grateful that we have these technologies, because in 1918, they didn't have it when they had the swine flu back then. There's also ways to stay connected through social media. I'm sure some of you have used social media like Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitters. but you can go onto seniorplanet.org and they have all these different classes to teach you how to use Google Calendar, how to use Zoom, how to use Facebook. So I'd encourage you to check that out if you want to become a little more tech savvy. There's also support groups. At New York Presbyterian Brooklyn Methodist Hospital, we have a whole Parkinson's exercise and wellness program where we have a patient support group every month, which involves our individuals, caregivers, friends, and family, where we'll go over upcoming events or have speakers come to talk about topics related to, or we have open discussions. And it's from people that are newly diagnosed to people who have had Parkinson's for over 30 years. There's also a caregiver support group as well, and yoga and dance. The Brooklyn Parkinson's group also has a general support group, which is being held via Zoom. I didn't put it up there, but the American Parkinson's Disease Association is also starting a young onset group for people who are newly diagnosed within the past 5 years. So you can also check something like that out. And they're also trying to target more minority communities as well going forward. But Zoom has given us that access to expand our outreach. There's online forums and threads like smartpatients.com and PD Conversations on the National Parkinson's Foundation website or Facebook groups. Now on the Smart Patients and PD Conversations, those are online threads that you can remain anonymous and speak to individuals and caregivers throughout the entire country. Just remember, no two people with Parkinson's are the same. So what may work for somebody else may not work for you, and vice versa, but always consult with your physician before trying some of what is suggested. For those who are feeling maybe even more isolated, or maybe you don't have any family, there's something now called friendly phone calls. So AARP has a friendly voice call service. Gifts of Gab and an Institute of Agents Friendship Line all provide a service where they will either have social workers or volunteers paired up with any individual that signs up for the program, and they can call you on a weekly basis to discuss anything that you'd like. So there's always someone there, even if you don't have family. As we spoke about today, it's also important to get moving. Engaging in physical activities such as a walk or an online group exercise class can boost endorphins and reduce feelings of loneliness. Exercise can improve an individual's fine motor coordination, improve sleep, build muscle, improve cognition, and can reduce depression and anxiety, like all of the speakers have mentioned today. There's many, many programs, and these are only some, as I was mentioning, but the Sephardic Center, as Linda had mentioned today, and some of the other speakers, has the Rocksteady boxing program in conjunction with Evolve. I already spoke about our yoga and dance. Dance for Parkinson's, also known as Mark Morris, they have dance programs, they have Tai Chi, they have other types of dance, right, other than like the classic ballet, they're actually having like tap dancing. And LIU has a Fitness for Parkinson's class online. And many of the local senior centers are also offering exercise classes online. The national associations like the American Parkinson's Disease Association, the National Parkinson's Foundation, Brian Grant Foundation, the PMD Alliance, and Davis Finney Foundation all have virtual events at this current time. I feel like there's been more offered during this time than ever before. So Zoom has given us the capability to do that. These national associations also, by the way, have educational programs, podcasts, webinars. So I'd encourage you to check them out because you can get a lot of information, and stay away from Dr. Google PS. But anyways, going back to exercise. Online exercise classes, the YMCA 360 is offering a slew of programs. Senior Planet, which I mentioned a little earlier, has some Silver Sneakers on Demand, is also another option for you. Then you have your Rehabilitation Services, which Stacy and Lou had mentioned also. But these services are still being provided in-home. Some facilities are providing it outpatient, and there's some providers that are providing these services online. And just going to physical therapy, speech therapy, and occupational therapy is not enough. I'd highly recommend that you ask your clinicians to write down the exercises so you can practice them and do the best you can, because these services don't always last forever. So we'd encourage you to get moving. And if you have a hard time getting moving, doing your exercises, have a competition with your caregiver who can exercise more, join one of these classes. Everybody should be able to do something, even if it's 10 minutes a day. And while you don't have control over diagnosis, you do have control of how much you exercise, okay? Then we want you to train your brain. Your brain has what we call neuroplasticity. So it could be worked out just like your body can. Neuroplasticity refers to the brain's ability to restructure or rewire itself when it recognizes the need for adaptation. In other words, it can continue developing and changing throughout your lifespan. There are many ways to promote neuroplasticity, such as by doing the following on a daily basis. One thing that you can do is read. There's an excellent website, storytime.com. So if you don't have children or grandchildren, they will actually pair you or your loved one up with younger children and have remote story time sessions. New York Public Library has ebooks. So while you can't physically go to the library, you could still take out books and download them digitally. You could do Sudokus, crossword puzzles, trivia, cards, brain training classes. We're bringing our brain training class back in January on a bi-weekly basis. And we do different exercises to stimulate memory, attention, concentration, and recall. So it's good for everybody, okay? There's also online brain games and apps, Luminosity, Elevate, Peak, Happy Neuron, Brain Angle, Age Connection, and Cognifant. We encourage you to play some of those because that's another way to stimulate your brain, as well as learn a new language like Duolingo, Babbel, Memrise, and Rosetta Stone. And then perhaps you can actually utilize those skills and apply it to volunteer time if you're looking to do that with some of the time that you have. You can also learn a new skill on Coursera or Senior Planet, to name just two of them. We also encourage you to tune into your creative side, which we kind of mentioned it today with our music therapist, and I appreciated that. So we encourage you to be creative. We encourage you to engage in art, whether you're joining a virtual singing group or taking an online drawing or dance test. It can offer your brain and body an outlet for expression and engagement. Research suggests music, especially when combined with dance, art, gaming, and exercise, helps promote neuroplasticity, can improve movement and coordination, and it can help strengthen your cognitive abilities. So we spoke about music programs today with the Sephardic Center, where you can learn a new instrument or join a music class. JASA provides classes as well for music. Sing for PD is also another one in the local community. And online, there's a program called Music Men Minds. So I'd encourage you to engage in that. There's writing, poetry, or creative writing. Some people, they get the Superman syndrome, where you have an increase with the dopamine by taking the carbidopa-levodopa. So hone in on that creative niche and check out covia.org or seniorplanet.org to engage in some of their creative writing classes or poetry writing or readings. Then there's art. So for those of you who like to paint, draw, do crafts, Art YouTube offers plenty of painting tutorials, Art with Elders, JASA, Artemy, and you can always do adult coloring books. Then there's lots of entertainment. So you don't have to actually go down to Broadway to see a show. So that's the joy of staying in your own home, especially when it's cold and it's winter. Lincoln Center at Home, Chamber Music Society, and Carnegie Hall Live all have different performances with music, as well as the Metropolitan Opera. The Auburn Public Theater provides different performances. So for those of you who like theater, that might be a viable option for you. And Billboard.com also has some live concerts, but there's tons of comedy shows and concerts and performances that are readily available online so that you could still enjoy date night or that time that you used to like going to the theater. We'd also encourage you to go exploring. We don't recommend you getting on a plane at this time, but guess what? You could save all that money and travel online. Traveling exposes your brain to novel stimuli and new environments, and it opens up new pathways and activity in your brain, which also can stimulate it. So there's the National Geographic Explorer, U.S. national parks for Google Earth. You have options to go to the American Museum of Natural History, the Louvre, Metropolitan Museum of Art, San Diego Zoo. And if you go on Google Arts and Culture, you'll be able to see all the wonders of the world right from your home. So there are people who do not have online access. Maybe you're a caregiver and your loved one's not with you today because they're not used to being on Zoom, or maybe somebody's not tech savvy. Well, the good news is there's several organizations that host telephone programs. So Mathers has a wellness and education programs that they offer. They have discussion topics, music reviews, and live performances. All you got to do is dial in. Same thing with Dora Without Walls. They have museum discussions, literature and storytelling, music and performing arts, current events, Jewish interests, and health and wellness. They also offer telephone support groups. And Dance for PD, their Dance by Phone is something new that they actually have given people the capability to experience a dance class by just dialing in. So that's something that's very exciting. So if you're not used to Zoom yet, you have options. Caregivers, okay, we can't forget about you because you're part of the family as well. We'd encourage you to make sure that you're getting the support you need. Ask for help from your providers. Attend a support group like the ones that we host at Methodist or Heights and Hills, so that you can get information and talk to other people about what you're going through. Make sure you're taking time for self-care. That is ever so important, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't be there for your loved ones. And don't be afraid to reach out for extra help. Sometimes people get aids not just for themselves, but also for their caregivers, to give them a break. So keep that in mind. And Kathy, I'm glad that you were able to present on that today. These are some other programs that are available online, like the Caregiver Action Network, Family Caregiver Alliance, Well Spouse, Smart Patients, ARP, Connections in Caregiving, and Family Caregiving Alliance. So all of these websites, they have educational forums, threads, tools that you can use, support. So I'd encourage you to check that out, because there's lots of resources that will be valuable to you. Also, overall, it's important to manage your mental health. It's really important to take care of your body. You can do deep breathing, stretching, meditation. If you need a meditation hotline, call me up. I have one for you. As your doctors usually preach, it's important to eat well-balanced meals. Also, exercise. We've talked about that a lot today. Exercise every single day. I'm never one to say you have to, you should, but you need to exercise, okay? Or you will regress. So get moving. Also, take your medications on time and hydrate. Because if you don't, you can have adverse reactions, and we do not want to see you in the hospital. Also, it's important to keep up with your appointments and get plenty of sleep. Now you have some time to do so, but we encourage you not to do that all day. And hopefully you'll get on a schedule, which we'll speak about in a minute, so that you can have a better sleep regimen. This will also help to boost your body's immunity, which is ever so important as we are still enduring this pandemic, and it will help you boost your resilience. It's also important to take breaks from the news. It can be so easy to get caught up on what is happening. I think it is important to be informed, but to limit yourself, because looking at all this information all day can make you depressed and anxious and can be a little scary. So limit your time with the news. As I just mentioned before, set up a schedule for yourself and try to keep things as consistent as possible in terms of the disease prevention and more broadly. So yes, you're not only taking time, making a schedule for your medications, but that means set up a time to engage in exercise class, spend time with your loved ones, go watch the opera. It's important to keep your purpose and keep going. Those who are sitting behind the TVs, no good, because that can definitely help to basically cause regression, and we don't want that. It can impact cognition, and we want you to keep going and do well even if you're at home. You can learn new coping mechanisms. We spoke about that today. Journaling is one, definitely a good technique to, get out all the thoughts to reduce your anxiety. And if you can't necessarily write, you can always dictate into maybe a voice memo to help you get out your thoughts. There's self-soothing techniques, which we use in therapy, where you can do things like take a bath, tapping, listen to music, light a candle. And you can find a lot of these different techniques if you aren't familiar with them on Pinterest or online. It's also important to recite daily affirmations. A research has showed that positive self-talk can definitely improve one's overall mental state, reduce depression, reduce anxiety, and improve self-esteem. So we'd encourage that. Also spend quality time with yourself. It's not just sitting home and watching TV. This is time for you to try a new hobby, do things that you enjoy alone, or even pampering yourself. And that goes not just for the caregivers, but all of the rest of you on this call as well. Also, practice daily gratitude. So I'd encourage you, maybe before you go to bed, to think about or write down 3 things, or even 2 things that were really lovely for you throughout the day. I'm grateful for the meal that was delicious and that was put on the table for dinner. I'm grateful for the sun that's shining outside. I'm grateful that I woke up today. And I encourage you to do that every night. And as time goes on, it can help you reduce any depression and anxiety that you may be experiencing. Also, especially with mental health, we're all getting kind of cabin fever sitting at home. So it's important that if you are feeling isolated or lonely, to speak with your physician, social worker, or members of your care team to let them know what's going on. We can't help you unless you vocalize it yourself. It's also a way you can attend a support group to get additional support. Who better to relate to than other people that are going through the same thing as you? I think there's also a lot of stigmas when it comes to support groups. So I always encourage individuals to try the groups out more than once because there's always different dynamics. And for some people, it takes time to warm up. If you are really still feeling lonely or isolated, depressed, or anxious, we'd encourage you maybe to seek counseling. A lot of social workers, psychologists, licensed mental health counselors, and licensed marriage and family therapists are providing Zoom sessions for counseling. And they will provide sessions for you on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, depending on your situation. And we'd encourage that before going to just resort to a pill for medication to alleviate your symptoms. Now, sometimes, yes, you may need that, but psychiatrists are only going to see you for about 15-20 minutes once a month, and they're not going to provide that additional support, which is really helpful when you're dealing with anxiety and depression and other issues with your mental health, and important to attend to improve your physical, mental, and overall well-being. There's a couple hotlines that are being offered throughout the city, the state, and federally, which I have listed here, like New York City New York State COVID-19 Emotional Support Hotline, Disaster Distress Helpline, which is a federal hotline, and the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, which is a 24-hour hotline that we encourage you if you're feeling like you're a danger to yourself or others. And be honest with yourself. It's okay to ask for help. And a lot of people are struggling during this time, but you do not have to be alone. Okay, so as I finish up, there were several lessons that we learned from 2020 and the COVID-19 pandemic. If anything 2020 has taught us, it's taught us to be patient. It's taught us to be kind. It's taught us gratitude. It's taught us adaptability, and it's taught us resilience. And I truly hope that after today and all the information that was presented to you, that you'll be able to implement some of the activities and programs that were mentioned today into your daily routine going forward. Now that you are all home and actually have the time to do so. I also hope that you could acknowledge the lessons that which were listed on the screen that we learned during this pandemic, and carry them with you not only as we enter 2021, but I hope that you also carry them with you throughout your journey with Parkinson's. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Erica. I told you she has a wealth of resources and information, and I know probably some of it went by quickly, but if you can identify what it is you're interested in, what you may need, again, we're going to post the contact information, and you can contact Erica for more specifics because she has a Rolodex in her head as well as so much information at her fingertips. So thank you, Erica. And thank you to all of our presenters. I really appreciate you all so much for your expertise and your compassion and caring for everyone. So thank you for participating today. We so look forward to when we can meet in person, but as we've acknowledged, somehow doing this on Zoom has also opened up opportunities because many people are in Manhattan and wouldn't come to Brooklyn, or you're all over the place. And here we've had over 90 people join together today. So I hope it's been helpful and give some ideas for keeping motivated and moving, and stay in touch with us. Let us know what you need, what you're interested in, because we can organize another program. If you want to email what you're interested in or what information you may need more of, please do let us know, because that's how we can shape the future programs to really fit what your interests and needs are. So in the meantime, keep on Zooming, keep on joining. And now I will try to get the contact information up there for you to be able to contact people as needed. So now I'm going to try to do a screen share. And there, here it is. So that's the information for me. If you want information about Rocksteady Boxing and the music therapy, please contact me. There's Erica Edelman's information, Stacy Emmer, and Kathy Livingston. Any other questions you have, please let us know. And I'll leave this up for a few minutes so that you can copy it down. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and I wish you well and good health. Stay safe and stay well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And just real quick, my email is era9029@nyp.org. So I
Did I
just
make
want to
a
get that
mistake
clear.
on there?
No, it's okay.
Oops, sorry.
No big deal. I want everybody to get a hold.
Okay,
And,
era9029@nyp.org.
It's okay. Everybody did amazing, and happy holidays. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Ashley, and all the speakers. And everybody be well, be safe. And just so you know, the vaccine will be available to the public in early 2021. So I thought I'd share that as well.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.